This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
The award-winning Lee Pitts Live is brought to you by Hodges University. Build the future you at Hodges University.
Southwest Florida, welcome back to part 2 of the Way Forward in the city of Fort Myers. I have here in the American Legion, Post 192 on Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard in the city of Fort Myers in the heart of Dunbar, the mayor of Fort Myers, Randy Henderson, Saeed, the city manager, Kazemi, and the new chief of police, Derrick Diggs. I know you guys are saying we've never seen Lee spend this much time on anything, but I'm doing it now, folks. And you guys have been very cooperative. Thanks for staying around for part 2. In part 1, we were talking about community policing, Chief Diggs, and that inspired me to say we need a part 2. What is your thoughts about the PAL program? I participated in the PAL program as a little kid, baseball, swimming, everything, boxing. And we just had a great boxing program that took place here recently. Guns, not gloves, not guns, too. I was there as the media sponsor, Mr. Mayor.
Right there.
PAL in general. Toledo, Ohio, did you have a PAL program there, Police Athletic League?
Absolutely. We had one of the best PAL programs in the country. Matter of fact, our PAL program was so recognized that we had the PAL boxing championship. Usually they rotate every year to a different city. Well, it seemed like it kept getting rotated to the city of Toledo because people from the National PAL Board just loved our PAL program and how we had things set up for those boxing championships. I'm a strong proponent of PAL. I was at a younger rank instrumental in restarting our PAL program and had the opportunity as I went through my command to either take charge of the PAL or associated with it. So that right now I think their PAL program, they've got about 300-something kids in it. We have our own gym up there, own brand new gym, own facility. And before I left, we were in the process of getting our own athletic fields with baseball diamonds and everything else. So,
Stars Complex should be our PAL place.
Well,
getting that on TV, folks.
Yeah.
Well,
down the road, Stars Complex should be PAL.
Well,
but go ahead.
One of the things that
you heard it right.
The city manager know is that I'm not saying our PAL program is anything wrong with it, but he knows that I want to expand our PAL program and really bring it under the police department umbrella and have some real big ideas about our PAL program.
I love it.
And I don't want to talk about all the things, but he knows that PAL is very, very important. And let me tell you why. Now, PAL can do so many things for young kids. And I'll go back to my PAL program, how we operated it.
That's in Toledo, Ohio.
Yes, right. Number one.
Where you were the chief of police,
Yes.
just educating our audience.
Yes,
Everybody doesn't know.
I know,
everything.
well, they can figure it out. But anyway, number one, the one thing about our PAL program that we had, and the way I like it, is that to be able to participate, you saw me like wink when we talked about academics before. Before our kids can go to the gym and participate in any of our organized sports, we check, see if their homework's done. If their homework's not done, we had classrooms with kids, and we had volunteer teachers, instructors. And our classrooms were just as modern as any modern classroom you could have. They were required to get their schoolwork done. Don't get schoolwork done, they can't participate in the program, all right? Once schoolwork done, gym's open to them. Number two, many of our young kids today don't have structure in their life. We called it back when I was a young kid being grounded, okay? They don't have that structure. Being involved in that PAL program provides that structure. Go to school, get your grades. And even though our PAL officers even went to the schools, so check on them. Check on the kids. Check on their turning in their work assignments. Checking to make sure their schoolwork's there. Checking on their grades. Checking if they're misbehaving. If they did anything that violated all those things, then when the kid comes to the gym, he got admonished, so on and so forth. So it provides that structure.
That's old school.
That is old school, and I'm old school. All right, I think I'm kind of maybe older than both these guys here.
Old school works.
Let me tell you number three though. This is what I really like about PAL. Okay, you ready for this? You ready for this, man?
I'm ready, man.
Okay. We have different sports in PAL, but the one thing I like is boxing. And the reason I like boxing is because boxing has a way of building self-esteem
And discipline.
And discipline. Okay,
I was a boxer.
I'm a football guy. You know, I like doing the football thing. But the one thing I learned, and I'm not a boxer, but when I go to the gym and I watch these kids being trained in the ring, I watch how they get that confidence when they hit that bag just the right way. I like how they hear that sound, and they get that confidence in themselves. And that confidence helps breeds them when they go home, so that they are harder to be influenced by some of these other kids at their age, as far as wannabe gang members.
Very good point.
It teaches them the self-confidence and also teaches them how to protect themselves. You know, if some of these young kids want to scrap. And so, if you can see my enthusiasm for PAL, okay?
Yeah, finally I see you percolate.
Yeah, I'm percolating, man. I'm percolating, man. But that's why I like it, not just for the boys. We got some girls in our program that could go a few rounds, okay? They can hit that bag, okay? Make that bag snap. But that's why I like about the police athletically. And then you put in the equivalent with the police officers being there, supporting them, encouraging them, coaching them. You know, they're not the bad guys that maybe some people that they associate with want to claim them. They look at these officers a lot differently, okay? And that's why I like about PAL. It's about putting police officers, putting kids together, and providing that structure for some kids that may not able to have that structure. And the final thing, because I don't want to hog your program up, but you got me going here. The parents. The parents love bringing their kids to our PAL program. And in many cases, some of these kids don't have a gym to go to. They don't have no other recreational outlet. When the parents drop them off and get involved in our program, they see the kids developing in a different way, in a very positive way. And so that's you talk about community policing, that's what I'm talking about. These parents are seeing the police department trying to help their babies instead of arrest their babies. That's why I focus on PAL. Now, we can focus on a lot of other things, but that's why I love PAL.
I love PAL too, and I see swimming being under that umbrella. Saeed, I saw you moving when we were talking PAL and thought process, and I know you have to sit down and a whole lot of strategic planning has to go about, and you don't want to say anything that's not going to come to fruition. But just give as a city manager, everybody's excited. Are you excited? And what are some things that general things that you see, say 5 years from now, will be fully in place?
Chief said he had a better PAL
Right.
in Toledo, so we were going to top that. So we are going to have a PAL that's going to top City of Toledo. That's what we are heading, but that's beside the point. What we were working on.
We have a version of a PAL right now.
We have. We are proud of it.
So that's
But
good. That's in place.
It is in place, and they are playing at Dunbar, and Dunbar is one of them. But the boxing, we need to find a place, and we are looking for the place for it. But we had some programs that we were
Jose
trying to.
is your boxing guy.
Right.
I met him.
Yeah.
I interviewed him
So
recently. Go
we
ahead.
were trying to expand it, and I'm glad that we talked. And you know why I picked this chief? This chief was talking about all these things during that 1 hour interview that I had. So we talked about those, and my goal is to have the programs for the kids that they enjoy to be there, to stay off the street. That's the goal that we have, and I don't believe any of these two gentlemen will disagree with me. That's our future. That's where we are. We cannot let this go. This is something that we need to protect them, and how to protect them, get them involved, and what to get them involved in the sport that they like, the program that they like. We cannot force this kid to do what they don't want to do. Mm-hmm. So we need to get this kind of a program. We need to have this kind of a program, and we need to support the PAL with programs. There is financial issue. The chief talked about all these people that they need to help. That's the volunteerism we are talking about. We are working on getting some people to volunteer, to do some tutoring.
Volunteers, that's right.
That's what we are working on right now, and we are glad that the chief is going to support us, and we are glad that that's the route we are going to take.
And Mr. Mayor, I think that because of the type of city that we have, always working together, that volunteer piece is going to come along very well. Moving away from Dunbar, Fort Myers in general, downtown Fort Myers, South Fort Myers, community policing. You talked about technology. I want to come back to you and kind of get an idea what this technology means. How are we looking? how do people all around the city of Fort Myers feel that they can be a part of what we're trying to do here?
I love the way Councilman Flanders once characterized our river district. He said it's everybody's living room. That's how people feel about the river district. And what I like to say, Lee, is that nobody's going to stop coming to Fort Myers. There are going to be more people coming to Fort Myers because they're going to observe in Fort Myers a high quality of life. And we're going to have ebb and flow of life. And some of that's going to involve violent crime. But we are in good hands, and we're going to deal with it. We have good, capable leadership. The council is going to be very supportive of that. And so when people look at Fort Myers, I think they're going to look at it in a very positive light. And I came here, I'm reminded of why I came here 37 years ago, because it was so beautiful then. Today it's even more beautiful.
The city council is a very diverse city council.
It is.
What does that do in terms of policy making, cultural diversity, in terms of bringing that kind of discussion to the fore?
Well, one of the things that's very helpful in being in a diverse environment such as our council is that we get to see life through the eyes of the way that my colleagues lived it. And each of us come from different walks of life. I'm a North Carolinian, for example, and grew up in a middle to lower income environment, socioeconomic environment. I was sustained by a lot of love and caring from my parents. I'm the oldest of four. Johnny Street's a former police officer, 30 years on the force. Comes with a perspective that the rest of us do not have. When he speaks, we listen. When you talk about Gail Anthony, a lifetime in health care, a perspective that we don't all understand, and so when she speaks, we listen. Terrelyn, Mike, they all come, Forrest Banks, they all come with a different perspective, whether it's engineering, school board, in the case of Mike Flanders, an architect. So that diversity, it's a unique thing. I think it's a random, unique thing in the history of this city that has come about in the last decade that has made Fort Myers a more a desirable place, a higher quality of place. And so we celebrate that diversity, to answer your question.
Great. The technology. I read you saying you're a big fan, proponent of technology and the ways it can be used to make a city even safer.
That's correct.
Can you Sesame Street that for me when you say technology?
Well, you know, there's all kind of technologies out there to help our police officers do their job.
Are you a fan of the cameras on the police officers?
Absolutely.
What do we call those, by the way?
Body cameras.
Body cameras. Okay.
And that's one of the things we're going to do. It's my goal, my intention to make sure that all our officers are equipped with body cameras. That's a very expensive proposition, but that doesn't mean we can't have that as a goal. And before I leave here, every uniformed patrol officer on the Fort Myers Police Department will have a body camera on them, because I believe in that technology. And let me tell you why. Not only is that technology there to help our officers work smarter, but technology is also there to help with transparency and accountability. You can look at any of the social media, look at all the problems they've had happen across the country, and to see the difference of what could have happened had an officer had a body camera or not. Body cameras is the future, and while there's some resistance on police departments and police chiefs across the country, eventually all officers are going to have to do it. Right now, the technology is too expensive, but it's coming. And since you keep talking to me about technology, you know that I'm a proponent of technology, and I'm a very progressive police chief. So that's just a small example in the community.
Let's move away from body cameras. When I think about technology too, I think about this big command center with all these TV screens. Mm-hmm. And throughout the city, there are cameras on poles and so on, like downtown Fort Myers. Is that a part of the whole equation? I would think so.
Yes, it is.
And you would have specific areas that you might deem that money needs to be spent, right? You don't want to spend money putting technology where there's no crime.
We're gonna utilize technology to help the officers best do their job. Okay, and when it comes to cameras, we want to make sure we put our cameras and utilize that money where one thing happens, it drives crime down, okay? And what you're talking about is a real-time crime center, and it's something I believe in. It's going to take a while to get there, but eventually there will be a real-time crime center on the police department.
Saeed, I'm going to keep that in mind, real time. I'm getting up in that law enforcement terminology. The size of the city of Fort Myers. I'll come to you on this too, Mr. Mayor, so stay
Yes,
up on me.
I will.
The size of the city of Fort Myers, have we grown to the point where we need all of these modern things that go with a large city now, and we haven't put that in place, and now we're on the right road to having a lot of the type of infrastructure for another modern city?
I just want to make sure that we understand we are not a small city in the daytime. We are a large city in the daytime because our population increases to almost 200, 110,000 when all the people come to city of Fort Myers to go to work and do the government business. We are a government hub.
Okay.
That's where we get in the morning, 7 days a week. We are not a small city. We have 76,000 populations, but that's only at night. But the daytime, we get to the large city, 100,
That's something
115,000 people. And that's why when you ask me, are we there yet? Yes, we are there in the morning, at least 7 days a week. So 6 days a week, and then 7 days at the downtown, that's live downtown we got. Mostly it's 7 days. But let me just go back a little bit, talk about the questions you asked city. Mayor talked about our downtown is our bedroom. That bedroom is the living room of everybody's. We want to expand that living room. We want to go down in the east on MLK. We want to go down south. We want to expand the downtown to make sure that everybody's living room can be the downtown, not just the small downtown we got. So we are working on that, and that's what the job I was talking about. We are expanding downtown, going south and going east. So therefore, MLK will be the gateway to our downtown. Where it's going to start, I'm hoping that our downtown starts by I-75. But that's where we are getting at.
And I saw a beautiful first opening of McCullum Hall, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
I don't know if we would call it the opening, but the infrastructure's in place now.
Yes.
I saw an outstanding speech you gave.
Yes.
I saw you there,
Thank you.
Saeed. I see stuff. You don't
Yeah.
see me. I see you.
Yeah.
Okay. Talk about McCullum Hall.
Well, it's one of the diamonds of the city.
Tell us where it's located.
It's
Tell our
located
viewers.
right in the sweet spot of Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. It's a gateway into the city of Fort Myers. It's wrought with wonderful history, historic influence that it had back during World War II days. One of the stories I like to tell about this, and it can make you emotional, but they used to talk about in McCullum Hall, the whites sit over here, and there was a rope, and the blacks would be over here when the evening events would.
All the great entertainers came through there too.
All the Count Basie, Duke Ellington.
Chief Diggs, new chief of police for the city of Fort Myers. Community. A good police department is a direct parallel to a community working closely with that police department. Is there a straight line we can always draw to that no matter where we go and we find a really good law enforcement process?
Yes, absolutely. And that's something that I've been concentrating on primarily ever since that you want to call it boots on the ground here. I have got to get the good folks of Fort Myers to forget about the past, whether real or perceived. And I have got to get the good folks of Fort Myers to work with me and develop that trust and develop that working relationship, because I can come up with all kinds of strategies. I can go out and arrest all these different folks. But if we're going to improve the public safety of this community and we're going to try to keep the crime down, they have got to be able to work with me. And we got to work on this together.
What do you say when the people, you say we're going to put the past in the back, and the people throughout the city of Fort Myers, the whole city, they see the same faces, same police officers, same people who were the face of the city of Fort Myers Police Department in the past? How do they forget that looking at the same faces?
You know, the way I would answer that is that, I'm coming here as a new police chief with new ideas, different ideas. I do things different than the past, and I'm a progressive police chief. But I got to be able to garner their trust, garner their support, if we're all going to be successful. If I can't get the folks to sit around the table with me and share with me and support the things that we're trying to do, and as far as assisting us what's going on in their community, stepping forward, letting us know what's going on, being the eyes and ears of the police department, then we're not going to be successful, okay? There's no way I can be successful as a police chief, and there's no way we can be successful as a police department, and there's no way we can improve public safety in this community if the citizens don't step forward with me. And that's why it's so important that I'm out talking, out getting to know the community, out engaging, to let them know what my vision is for public safety, and to try to get them to work with me, because it's a two-way street.
What about your existing police law enforcement officers who are set in their old ways?
They're not going to be set in their old ways long.
Okay, that's what I wanted to get on record. Saeed, you haven't been complaining about budget. City managers usually sit here with me and complain about budget. I know there's always budget constraints. Is it a matter of how you allocate that money?
That's exactly right. How you can manage it, what you got, and how to get best of what you got. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I don't need more, but I have to understand where the money is going to come from. That's where I get whatever I got at this time in order for me to do the best job. And the allocation is the best thing that we need to learn, and we need to allocate and how to do it right. And that's what we're working on. But I want to go back and talk about the police. As I said, our police officers are the best. Now they need to learn how to change. And the change supposed to change themselves also. You mentioned that they are the same police officers out there. Nothing changed. But the thinking needs to change. The way that they do business needs to change, because we are all trying to get change. To change implement in the city of Fort Myers with the chief that we got. That's what we got, a new chief that it came from outside. We needed a change. And that's what it goes all around. We cannot ask the citizens or the residents to talk to us without us changing some of what we were doing before. So the change has to happen on both sides.
Okay. Let's make sure that I add this in. When we're not painting any broad brush on, we don't have some good law enforcement officers already in place. Just the way I had to cloak that question. Right. So we know we have some good people in place as well, and we also know that everybody isn't perfect, and we'll rely on Chief Diggs to figure all that out. Right. Mr. Mayor, as it relates to public policy and how you guys go about deliberating at that city council dais,
Right.
tying into budget,
Yes, sir.
tying into some of the other things that the chief has said, how do you see that public policy marrying with what they're talking about?
The council takes its work very seriously. We have 900 some odd employees across the entire city. We know that if we can establish good policy, that they can deliver. We have professionals in our city, so it's incumbent upon us to lead in that way from public policy. That starts with a substantial respect for one another. And one of the things I'm proud about this council is that we can have spirited debates, but there's always respect. And that's unusual for a bureaucracy and a political body. And it's something I love to share with the community, because I think when that happens, the citizens benefit, the employees benefit, because the employees can take a little pride in the policy-making body. So I commend our council. When you take people like Teresa Watkins Brown, who spent 30 years in telecommunications, and she deploys that experience into the public world with all the rest of us. And I've mentioned them all by name. I believe that's going to be one of my takeaways when I'm done with this work in public service.
Talk about the season is coming upon us. We always have a great season. I think it starts with October.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
What can we expect in the city of Fort Myers this season?
It's going to be robust.
You heard about the season already, right? Chief Diggs. That's when more people come into town. Like a whole other city comes here.
He was just talking about coming in from Colonial today, and it was a little bit slow. I said, "Turn your light on." And what you can expect, everyone, is that it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be busy. People are going to be milling about. There's going to be a spirit of happiness and just an overall wonderful time because the cooler weather's coming. People are going to be outside.
Great. Talk about the relationship with about 3 minutes left. Let's go right here to the chief. The relationship with the city of Fort Myers and other surrounding police departments, in particular, the Lee County Sheriff Department is there. If you are, go.
I'm just waiting for you to finish. You know, it's Lee, it's amazing. You said that just last week. I had a meeting with Sheriff Scott, and it was a positive meeting. Just one positive meeting. We had a chance to get to know each other. We met earlier at a meeting that was put together by the mayor and his task force, and we talked a little bit then with them and some other law enforcement leaders. But I had you see me talking very positive about this because it was just a great meeting I had. We got to know each other a little better, and we're going to be working together on some things that improve, as he says, improve the public safety for not only the city of Fort Myers, but for Lee County also. So I left that meeting very, very happy and very satisfied that the sheriff and his department is going to be on board with what we're trying to do here in the city of Fort Myers, as well as some other criminal justice partners. That's part of my getting out in the community. If I'm not in the community members, meeting with community members, I'm meeting with other criminal justice leaders, and I'm continuing to do that. But so far, they all have basically jumped on board, been very gracious to me, got to know each other, and I feel, like I told you, community policing is also about working collaboratively with other agencies. And I feel very confident that they're going to come to the table and work with us to make sure that we improve the safety in the city of Fort Myers.
Okay. What is unique about the city of Fort Myers, Saeed, that says the city of Fort Myers needs to always have its own police department?
I believe in that. When you're a city, you need to have your own policing because the people they need to know that there is somebody in there that they can be dependent on. I'm not going to say sheriff is not going to be there not to protect us, but the city always needs to have their own police, and we are not different. We need to have our own policing, and that's the sense of security that they'll give to the residents, that they have their own and they can talk to, they are their own. They are their own people outside on the street. That's what I believe in, to have every city to have, and the city of Fort Myers is not different.
I agree 100%. Mr. Mayor, would you take a look into that camera, take about 30 seconds, give some final comments.
The city of Fort Myers is 133 years old, and we're the best that we've ever been in the history of the city. We're growing economically, we're growing in population, and today I'm confident that with the arrival of Chief Diggs and the work of Saeed Kazemi and our council, the city of Fort Myers' future is going to be very promising, and people are not going to stop coming here. They're going to come, and we're ready to receive them. The best is yet to come.
Okay. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you here for this special meeting, and I look forward to continuing to work with you in the future, okay?
Well done.
Thank you very much, sir.
As the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they are usually interrupted by those like these dynamic leaders here for the city of Fort Myers who are doing it. We'll see you next week on the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
Community, opportunity, police, and service. Come join the team. Together, we can make a difference.
I'm here today to share my enthusiasm for my good friend Lee Pitts Live. I want you to know every Sunday morning I'm tuning in to Lee Pitts Live to catch what's going on in my community today.
Southwest Florida, you caught me. Just before I do any of my television shows, I always read the community press so I can know what's going on in Southwest Florida. So Lee Pitts Live reads the community press, and you should too.
Congratulations to Lee Pitts Live, recipient of the NAACP Image Award.
Lee Pitts Live is a Lee Pitts Enterprise production.